Oh, joy unbounded. It's officially confirmed. Star Trek Starfleet Academy is limping along with all the momentum of a warp core breach in slow motion. The creatives behind this masterpiece are out there begging critics to cease their so called review bombing, lest the series shuffle off this mortal coil. As if that's not exactly what the chorus of disgusted fans are praying for. But hey, in the spirit of eternal optimism, or maybe masochism, some starry eyed souls are whispering, can it really be saved? Well, darling, just because you can resuscitate a corpse doesn't mean you should. Even if you pull it off, it'll be a Frankenstein's monster, brittle, haunted by its own stench of failure. But sure, Dresden and Hiroshima got rebuilt into shiny new versions of themselves after total annihilation. Why not give this turd a polish? For the lulz, let's dissect the show's gaping wounds and brainstorm fixes that might make it palatable to more than just this mythical modern audience. Spoiler alert, it starts with firing everyone in the writer's room, showrunners included. Keep the actors if they promise to stick to the new scripts like glue. Assuming we can even find scripts that don't read like fanfic from an erotic fever dream. First up, the elephant in the room, or rather, exploding warp drive, the burn. This plot tumor should be excised, cauterized, and buried in the deepest subspace rift. But since it's the shaky foundation, such as it is, propping up this Academy farce, let's pretend we can rehab it without vomiting. I won't insult your intelligence by recapping the idiocracy. Plenty of masochistic outlets have already lowered themselves to that standard. In essence, it's a galaxy wide plot device that nukes faster than light travel in the Star Trek universe, isolating Earth and gutting the Federation by destroying the Federation. Brilliant, right? Instead of that, let's crib from actual canon, like civilized Trekkies. Remember that Next Generation gem, Forces of Nature, from Season 7, Episode 9, where those sibling scientists warned that warp drives were Swiss cheesing subspace? And afterwards, everyone promptly forgot? Boom! Expand on that. Subspace destabilizes over centuries, making warp prohibitively expensive and rare. Tie it to two isolationist movements boiling up and bubbling from Earth and others, the so-called Federation's capital, leading to a slow fade into irrelevance. If the showrunners are truly convinced that blowing shit up is the best move, subtly is for losers, we can throw in a Omega Cascade. You know, that substance that is so increasingly unstable that a little particle can destabilize an entire region. Well, we could make it so some rogue space station outside Federation space botches containing the Omega particle and boom, warp goes bye-bye. Then we can fast forward to science marching on, warp becomes viable again, and reintegration zealots push for a grand reopening. In this, we can crib from Dylan Hunt from the series Andromeda, hustling to rebuild his Commonwealth. But in this case, via a shining new Academy cohort proving that united we do stand. And it isn't just a bumper. And voila, a plot that doesn't make you want to vomit and self-destruct. Now, purists might whine that the Federation, and Starfleet Academy specifically, embodies the meritocracy and excellence. And that is a fair point. But Hollywood has proven time and again that shoving misfits into elite training can be gold if they evolve into paragons along the way. For example, Police Academy, Combat Academy, Stripes, and even Pauly Shore's woefully misbegotten adventure in the Army Now, which, let's be real, looks like a masterpiece compared to this slop. Outcast fumbling towards greatness? That is entertaining. Just don't forget the learning part. Speaking of pointless additions, this war college. This reeks of a half-baked idea nod to the U.S. Army-Navy rivalry, especially during football season, or American football season. Very cute for Earthlings, but in Starfleet in the future, utterly superfluous. Any boot camp vet, cadet, midshipman will tell you that rivalries erupt organically between squads, fueled by ego or simply just drill sergeants trying to poke the bear. Need the excellence, after all. No need to invent the whole institution for this. That's just lazy world building. And the ship, the USS Aether or Athena or whatever the hell they're calling it, love the design or loathe it. It's an unnecessary appendage, and making the entire academy this one ship that can go wherever the fuck it wants is a dangling unnecessary appendage. But every Star Trek needs a ship, right? Well, wrong. Deep Space Nine thrived on station-bound drama for a few seasons before the Dominion War cranked up the pew-pew. Early Wrath of Khan showed us that holodeck simulations can fake an entire vessel. Hello, Kobayashi Maru. We can ditch the real ship, use holotech for practical exams, alien worlds, and actual Trek-worthy exploration, and boom, budget saved, focus sharpened. With that structural rot patched, kind of, let's salvage the characters. The real black holes that suck the life from this plot. Each one is a masterclass on how not to write. But with a few tweaks, they might graduate from insufferable to barely tolerable. Captain Naha Ake, played by Holly Hunter, the Chancellor and Barefoot Wanderer. Ignoring the potential foot fetish, why not alienate your audience any further? She's scripted as intimidating. But let's face it, Hunter comes off like a quirky auntie who'd bake you cookies mid-lecture. Her discussions are galaxy brain rot bad, accomplishing zilch on screen, and that shoeless shtick, at best, an eccentric. At worst, it's a hygienic nightmare. Fix for that, clarify is a species-specific trait. They don't like shoes because they want to feel closer to the planet, like that dual survival show weirdo that hates shoes for some reason. But the core fail on this character is the presence. If you absolutely have to have an intimidating person, recast with someone that can ooze authority. Or, better yet, pivot to a Yoda-esque troll, confusing at first, testing students' mettle, guiding with cryptic wisdom. And then we can ditch this captain title. After all, no Athena, no ship, no captain. There's no need for it, and she's by no means the chancellor of 1,000 cadets. We can make this character better by simply making her a faculty advisor or drill instructor. That way her fixation on this handful of cadets or midshipmen makes sense instead of screaming plot contrivance. Now, Caleb Meir, played by Sandro Rosta, the mama's boy who forgets to call home nearly every episode. Peak Gary Stu Dickory, a prodigy at everything, an audience surrogate at nothing. Nobody roots for the perfectionist without peril. I mean, look at what happened to Wesley Crusher. If you're looking for this reformed criminal trope thing, and it's non-negotiable, we can channel Robert Duncan McNeil's Nick Locarno or Tom Paris, and make him a teen hacker trope, even though everyone hates that, but with teeth. Some of his hacks backfire, he actually gets in trouble for doing some of the things he does. Make consequences that sting. No more effortless wins. Earn that redemption arc, son. Now, Jaden Krog, Karim Diane, the gay Klingon pacifist. Gay, fine, whatever. Some psychology outlet says hypermasculine traits can swing that way. As for pacifist, in a race of honor-bound berserkers, God, he'd be vaporized in the cradle if raised Klingon. But Kronos blew up. There are no Klingons anymore. Yeah, courtesy of the bird. We fixed that mess, remember? Even if the world needs to go, by the time of the end of the next generation, the Empire was self sufficient. A new capital could spark succession wars, doubling down on a warrior culture, which would guarantee every Klingon would be a warrior. This characterization defies canon like phaser set to pure ignore logic. And the Thruple parents, yeah, whatever. Unstable as nitroglycerin, especially when it's multi-male. There are many examples of that not quite working out. If you have to have a quirk of some kind, like any of the above, pick one to explore. Psychology, canon, thruples, or ditch it entirely. A skilled writer could mine gold here. These current hacks, as we've seen, not a chance. And Stovical. Sam, series acclamation mill, played by Carice Brooks, a hologram cadet, programmed by holograms who loathe their servitude to humans, programmed by programs to explore humanity that they hate and be subservient to them because they hate being of service and they want to determine whether or not they will be of service again. And they program her to act like a moody teen. God, we know hologram tech works better than this. I mean, look at the doctor's evolving subroutine from merely a emergency program to fully sentient. Or we could channel Data's childlike innocence, and we can lens it through this new iteration, an exploration of artificial adolescence. But again, only if a truly talented writer helms it. Otherwise, as we've seen, it's just glitchy cringe. Now, Darim Rayami, played by George Hawkins, a Kenonian cadet with baggage. A new species with tangled history. Well, honestly, it's inoffensive, and if they truly explored it, he's simply beige wallpaper in a room of neon disasters. Genesis Life, played by Bella Shepherd, a command track Mary Sue. Well, that's ironic, since Star Trek fan fiction birthed this trope. And everyone hated it, especially at the time. Expansive skills, zero stakes, she can do whatever the hell she wants simply because she exists. Total snooze fest. We can tone down the perfection, add a few failures, consequences similar to Caleb, and it could be fun if she has to actually earn her stripes. Tarima Sadal, played by Zoe Steiner, a Betazoid royal's daughter. Hot, horny, personality free, arbitrarily overpowered, and bed strangers on sight. A stellar role model for cadets if I ever was one. Well, dial back those powers, foster growth, build a backbone, and she's potentially watchable post-overhaul. Commander Jet Reno, played by Tig Notaro. She's a Discovery vet. She's had minimal screen time, and the writers and showrunners have so far not done her any favors. All those atrocious scripts, yeah. Given meaty material, she'd actually sparkle. Then the Doctor. Hell, he still doesn't have a name after 800 years? Really? God. Played by Robert Picardo, Voyager's emergency medical hologram. Somehow, now he's intolerable. In this case, we can again blame the writing. We know that if you hand him gold, he'll deliver. Vice Admiral Charles Vance, another Discovery holdover. Now, while I'm not convinced we need to see a visible chancellor on screen, if we absolutely have to have a chancellor, he'd be it. And he's again wasted by the dreck that is Starfleet Academy. Now we come to Lieutenant Commander Laura Falk, played by Gino Yashahir, a half Klingon, half Jem'Hadar. God, enough with these hybrids unless you're going to deep dive the actual consequences of it. We know that Jem'Hadar don't breed. They are a engineered race bred entirely for war. War machines, sans plumbing, or even desire. Now, a race cloned for battle, sans conflict, that actually does sound intriguing. But grafting sex organs onto that? They wouldn't want it, and no self respecting scientist in the Federation would allow it and would force it. And the Klingons wouldn't be able to, and maybe the Romulans might just for the lulz. But really, only a godlike prankster like Q or an exceptionally intelligent geneticist that just gets off on causing problems would bother giving them a sex drive. And as for birthing and then making them females or giving them a Mocklin style twist, yeah, it could actually work. Establish motives. Or maybe like Voyager style, think tank, sowing think tank in the Delta Quadrant, sowing chaos for profit. The repercussions could be epic, but without a payoff, it's as Jar Jar Abrams has so routinely proven. If your mystery box is empty, God, it's pure crap. The computer, voiced by Britt Marling. A bland VO, fine, yeah, whatever. The digital dean, voiced by Stephen Colbert. Pure VO fluff, it's just unnecessary. If that role has to be fulfilled, merge it with the computer, because it's effectively redundant. As far as the series' effective overall villain, Noose Braca, played by Paul Giamatti, he's the big bad. He's not been on screen a lot. He's tolerable, and for some people has been a highlight of the series so far. We know his motives are murky, and his limited exposure spares us full revulsion. Now, as for actually saving the series, a Hail Mary Sue save, the only way is to have the cadets realize it's all a simulation. They band together and escape, and then have to reintegrate into actual reality. Poetic, especially after all the garbage we've seen. Except because of this garbage, we know that these cardboard cutouts couldn't hack a doorknob. And the fans would rightly scream, "It's all a dream cop out!" Which, yeah, it is. Bottom line, none of the current creatives should touch Trek with a 10-foot pole arm. So, can it be saved? Technically, yes, but at what cost, honestly? Sunk cost fallacy alert. Beam this wreck into a shipyard and totally go somewhere else. Somewhere. Anywhere else.